Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Leigh, certified professional pet groomer since 2003, but it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you and your pets the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide the same level of quality care that I provide to my client pets here in my grooming salon. You can provide that at home too. That's what we do right here. One of my goals on my YouTube channel is to bring a new voice to the pet grooming industry, and that is one that includes you, pet owners and groomers, as a valuable voice in the industry, meaning that you have strong expectations for great products, tools, equipment, just like pet groomers do. And manufacturers are bringing it to you guys too, because we're doing wonderful things together. We are better together. So that is one of the goals on my channel, is to lift pet owners up as actual people who care for their pets at home. They deserve to have access to valuable tools, products, and equipment just like professionals, so they can perform safe practices at home. That's what we do right here on my YouTube channel on Go Groomer. And I'm so glad to see you guys tonight. I'm so happy to be in front of you. I must say, it's hard just live streaming every other Monday, but it makes me so excited to put stuff together for you guys, because I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. And it just gets me excited to put stuff together for you. Tonight is a really good one. I say that all the time, don't I? But maybe I'm wrong. You're just going to have to let me know. The topic of tonight is the 6 items that you need to purchase to groom any dog and what it will cost you. I have a demo prepared that will put all of that into perspective for you when it comes to using those 6 tools that I'm going to talk about. They're the only 6 tools that you will ever need to groom any dog that requires a haircut. So this is valuable information that we're sharing here tonight, and I'm so happy to bring it to you. But before we dive into all that, I have a few announcements to make so we can get all that out of the way. So put your listening caps on, guys. All right. Last week, I revealed a brand new digital download. Here, I'll show you a little clip. I'll show you a little clip of what it is. Here it is. All right, so I revealed this to you guys last week. I made it for you and your pets to help you groom your pets safely. I created a fail-proof blueprint dog grooming guide that is designed to walk you through the steps of a groom as if it were your own private lesson with me. This is a unique, comprehensive 5-page printable document that will lead you to a beautiful, balanced pet trim, just like the dogs that I groom professionally. It will help you get there, just like I do. It's showcasing how to perform the clipper work and then onto the scissor work on the head, the legs, the feet, giving the dogs that you groom a well-balanced and symmetric trim. The idea of my printable download blueprint is to kind of really simplify it for you, okay? And it's wonderful. Now, as you saw, I put mine in a 3-ring binder, as so did my friend Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. This was his suggestion, and it's wonderful because I can lay it flat out on my grooming table if I need to. It's in these little plastic sleeves, so it won't get damaged or wet. That's fine. Also, it's just very easy to work with if I'm following it as a guide, if you're following it as a guide. Obviously, then there's also some notes in here from our Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh, but that's a membership thing. So you can get your printable blueprint just like that today. Click the link in the description below. It is very affordable. It is $4.99, and you'll have it forever. If you lose it or it gets damaged, you can simply just go print out another one, because once you have accessed the Learning Center, my Go Groomer Learning Center, you will always have access. If you remember your login information, write it down. I can always go in and change that for you if you forget it. So it's just an email away. But so I created that for you guys. I just wanted to let you know that there is a follow along video coming. Hopefully, I started it. It's a lot of work. Coming along to go with that blueprint. So it is going to kind of tie it together even better for you. The follow along video is available to anybody. So that one's coming, and it will just be launched on my channel like any other video. But if you have the PDF, my blueprint, you're really going to love that follow along video because it ties it all together. So it's only $4.99. If you're interested, it's linked below. It's a download. That's that. I just wanted to let you know it's there for you. Sometimes people can't show up, you know, all the time, so I have to repeat myself a little bit so you know what I've been creating for you. So tonight, I also don't want you guys to forget that I'll be answering your personal dog grooming questions that you submitted through Google Forms as well, so stay put for that. We have some good ones. Channel members, hounds, are you in here? I see you. I see my hounds. My hounds have all the little special badges beside their names. Those are my channel members. Now, I can't wait to see you, hounds. Again, we're getting together for our number 3 session of Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh, and I can't wait. That is going to be August 11th at 2 p.m. I believe it's a Thursday. And in that session, we will learn how to balance the outline and trim on a dog that is naturally unbalanced in build. So a dog that is shorter in height than they are long, they're unbalanced. How do we balance that? How do we make it look nice in our grooming? That's what we're going to focus on. A dog that may have a very, very large head, like a lot of our doodles, how do we balance that head into the trim so it looks like their head fits their beautiful body, right? We're going to go over that. So don't forget, if you are a channel member, it's on the community page for you, all the information you need to get into that Zoom session. But if you're unable to join, because we all have different time frames, I know, and we have different lives and commitments, it is recorded. So if you're unable to join that Zoom session, don't worry, don't stress. It's recorded and it's only available to members, so you'll be able to learn at your convenience. And all of the videos that I make for my members are up there forever. You guys can always go back and rewatch because sometimes, you know, they literally are lessons. So it helps you. And, you know, as a channel member, if you're not a channel member, you can become one. There's a link in the description below, or you can click that little join button somewhere down there if you're on a desktop. I think it shows up on a smartphone too, I'm not sure. But you can be a channel member. And you can take your grooming to a new level, because that's what we're doing here for our channel members, the hounds. So, also, before we say our goodbyes for tonight, I will announce the topic of our next live from the grooming table, which is scheduled for Monday, August 15th at 5:30. So mark it down, guys. Don't want you to miss it. It's going to be a good one. Wait till you hear the topic. You're going to love it. Oh, it's a good one. I just came up with it today. I was like, that's fabulous. Okay, so back to the topic tonight. What are the 6 items that you need to purchase to groom any dog? Impossible Pup is super chatting. You are so getting saluted, Impossible Pup, David T. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. You're not getting out of here without a salute. Jenny's super chatting. Here they come, guys. Here come my troops. Here come my hounds. Thank you, Jenny. It is my pleasure to show up here for you and bring you the information that has made me a better groomer over the years. I'm giving it to you guys so you can take advantage of that at home or if you're a pet groomer. And it's my pleasure. Thank you guys for the super chats. I totally appreciate that. I appreciate you all being here. This is definitely going to be worth it for you guys tonight. So back to topic. What are the 6 items that you need to purchase to groom any dog? There's only 6. Really. You can groom any dog and professional results with 6 tools or items. So I'm not only going to answer that anticipated question for you tonight, what are those 6 tools, but I have prepared a demo for you showing you what those 6 tools are, how to use them when giving a dog a haircut. And I gathered all the links to these tools as well as I put the price packages together for you so that you know exactly what it would cost you and where to get them. All the tools are listed in the description of this video below with links and individual prices so you know what they cost. Now, if by chance you're watching this video next year, those prices may be different. They could be lower, but I doubt it. They're probably going to be higher. The purpose of the video is to show you the tools that you need to groom dogs successfully. There truly are 6 items that you must purchase to groom a dog and produce professional results. So you want to see a demo? I've prepared one for you. It's pretty good. Let me roll that for you guys. This is going to put it into perspective. I'll meet you right back here, and we're going to discuss those 6 items in detail. And I'm going to show you. I have them all sitting here right in front of me. We're going to talk about it. So here's the demo. Brush has so many purposes. I just got Sparky in to begin his groom. The first thing I will do is gently brush through him, just lightly, to loosen up any dead coat so I can get him good and clean in the tub. Plus, when I go to trim him, I don't want to be trying to trim through any mats or anything like that, which he's not matted. He just needs brush. I start with my slicker brush and pre-brushing before I bathe and trim the dogs. Nail trimming. So I perform all the nail trimming after the dog is bathed and toweled off and is up on the table, because at that point the nails are a little less brittle because he was in the tub. Got some hydration going there, so they're less likely to be brittle and crack and stuff as I'm trimming them. But trimming the nails is so important, guys. And if you can't trim your dog's nails, then don't forget you can make an appointment with a groomer to just have your dog's nails trimmed if that's not something you're comfortable with. Professional groomers are quite acquainted with trimming nails. It's really not a big deal for us. But since we're talking about trimming nails and how important it is, it's a big part of the groom, I want you guys to know that you will notice that some dogs do not need their nails trimmed. Why is that? Because they are obviously very active and they wear their nails down just through activity. So they may not need trimmed. But if they do, this is the Miller's Forge nail trimmer, and it is my favorite. It is linked below. So back to slicker brushing. The dog has been bathed. We're drying him now. We're using our slicker brush to help us stretch and fluff out that coat so that it's nice and fluffy and we can get a beautiful trim on it. Now, we can't groom dogs without a metal grooming comb. The metal grooming comb that I like to use has fine teeth on one end and coarse on the other. I use the fine teeth to stretch dry those difficult areas around the nose, in front of the eyes, so I can get all that hair nice and straight so that I can scissor it accurately. Before we do any clipper work or scissor work, we're going to make sure we can get the coarse end of our comb through the entire dog. Ears, legs, body, tail, all the hair. And this tells us that we're ready to trim our dog. Detachable blade clipper with a 10 blade. This is all you need because we have our guard combs. So we'll do all our sanitary work with our 10 blade, which is the pads of feet and the privates around the butt and the penis. Then we're going to put a guard comb over our 10 blade and give Sparky his haircut. And because we can get a comb through his coat completely, that is why these guard combs are going through smooth like butter. And we're going to do his legs and his body completely with this 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do his head with a larger guard comb. And then we'll scissor the rest. Good job, buddy. It's all right, good guy. Good job, Sparky. It's so beautiful. I'm going to remove the 1/4 inch and I'm going to put on, this is a 7/8, depack my blade, the blade brush. Slip this 7/8 inch guard comb on, and I'm going to set the length on his head, on his cheeks, and his muzzle. Put the nose down. Good, Sparky. Actually, I want to take more than that, so I'm going to go 1 step shorter, which is a 5/8, and I think that's going to look better. The 7/8 wasn't taking much. I think this is going to look much better. I'm just coming over the dome of his skull, and then right up the side of his cheek. We're just setting length. We're going to tidy the rest up with scissors. Good job, Sparky. It's okay, big boy. Chin up. Good boy. Oh my goodness. Now I have cleaned and cooled my 10 blade so it's not hot, because it can get hot under our guard combs. So I sprayed it with Cool Care, let it sit for about 30 seconds, wiped it down. It's nice and cool. I'm going to start with the corner of his eyes. So I'm going to use the corner of my blade, and I'm just going to take out what stains right there. That's it. So this is all my sanitary work, guys. Good job, buddy. We're going to clean up right in front of his penis a little bit so that when he goes to the bathroom, it's nice and clean. Come towards the penis. And you're cleaning up around there. Good job, buddy. And we're going to turn around. I'm going to clean up right around his bum, gently with a 10 blade. Right above the tail there to keep all that clean. And this dog has been bathed, so I don't want to hear everybody worrying that I touched his anus. His anus is clean. I take very good pride in the way I clean my dogs when I bathe them. We're going to use that same 10 blade in the pads of the feet, and we're just going to gently clean up the pads of the feet so that he doesn't get tangled. Now he has this weird dew claw right here, so I'm actually using my 10 blade to tidy that up instead of scissoring so much around it. Good job, bud. And that'll be it for the sanitary work after we do all 4 pads. I'm using my comb and my curved shear, and we're going to set the shape on the face. But basically, we already set our outline with our guard comb. So we just have to tidy it up. And anything that our guard comb missed, we're going to get with our shears and just properly outline the shape of our dog. Good boy. Still using our slicker brush. Just put my banjo away. I love that music. It just kind of makes you happy. Makes you want to learn how to groom dogs, doesn't it? So that, you know, that is really how I wanted to show you each one of these important tools being used and how they're used. So that's what we did. Now we're going to talk just a little bit further about that. So I'm going to clear the screen from the chat real quick because I'm going to show you guys some products and some tools. Okay, it's tool time. It's tool time live from the grooming table. Okay, so the first tool that we talked about is a brush. This particular brush is the one that is linked, and it's linked in the description below. This is the Artero soft slicker. It has, the one side is a little firmer than the other for doing any dematting that may be necessary, but I just love how flexible it is. It's $23.25 linked below if you want to pick one up for yourself. There is also a larger size of this brush that you can purchase if you have a bigger dog. I have both and I use both. So this is a fantastic universal brush to have, and as you can see at $23.25, it doesn't break the bank. You do have to replace it every now and then. This isn't going to hold up as well as our Activette or Les Pouches brushes, but actually I use it professionally and it holds up pretty good. So this is a good one. And then once they start to get a little bit bent, I might use them as tub brushes to brush out the ears and stuff in the tub when the conditioner's on. So yeah, this is my choice for brush for you guys, for all those reasons, affordability and performance. So that's that. And you saw me in the demo, I wanted to point that out, using my brush multiple times throughout the groom. I started with a pre-brush, and you could dampen the coat a little bit to strengthen the hair if you got a longer coated dog. You don't want to break coat. Sometimes a dry coat is dry and brittle, like it's just not hydrated because it's not been bathed and conditioned yet. You can also use a conditioning spray if you want to, but you could just mist in a little bit of warm water into your dog's coat when you do your pre-brush before you bathe them. And it actually makes it easier to brush them out. So it's a good tip. But you saw when I am scissoring feet, I'll fluff them up. Oof, there's little particles of hair flying around. I'll fluff it up with my slicker brush, as well as I use my comb a lot, all throughout the groom. These two things, you can't have one without the other. They are a couple. They love each other so much. They're such a good couple. Okay, we didn't get to comb yet, but so we are still talking about the brush. I use it all the time throughout my grooms. You saw when I went to trim his tail, I made sure to remove any hair particles that may have fallen into his long tail hair while I was trimming him, because that stuff can wind in there and cause matting. So before you would trim the tail, you want to brush it and get all that out of there. Then you follow it through with your comb, which leads us to the next tool. Number 2 is the comb. I like to have a comb that has fine teeth, that means they're close together, and coarse teeth, which means they're not as close together. I use the fine teeth, as you saw when I was stretch drying little sparkies, the hair around the face and the muzzle. That hair, it's hard to get in there with a brush safely. So that's why I like my comb and just raise it and stretch it out with the dryer so that I can stretch dry. That's called stretch drying. We're pulling the curl out of, in front of his eyes, in front of his little nose and his whiskers and his muzzle, so that we can get a nice, precise round head, if that's the type of trim we're doing, or whatever. Even if I'm working on a schnauzer, I will stretch dry that beard so it's nice and straight and I can put a perfectly accurate trim on the dog. So that's where I like to use the fine teeth, is when I'm stretch drying and I'm trying to get in those little areas. Also around the toes, when I'm trimming feet with my scissor, I like to use the fine tooth on most breeds to pull that hair out so I can get a very accurate round foot. When I'm fluffing and scissoring, I like to use the other side, which is the coarse side. It's called the coarse side. And I've linked a comb in the description below that's made by Andis. It's $9.11. If you buy a metal grooming comb and you have the fine teeth and the coarse teeth, you will probably never have to replace that again. These things are so durable. So durable. I have all the combs I've ever had. I've never thrown away a comb. I've never had to. Every now and then you'll drop it and you'll bend an end, but you can gently just bend it back. That's why they're metal. They're very good. They are water resistant too, stainless. They all have a finish on them. So some combs are more anti-static than others. I don't tend to worry about that because I am typically grooming pets. If I have a little static, I might just mist a little water in the coat, just a tiny bit, just to lay it down a little bit, take that static charge out of there. You don't have to, my point of this video is you don't have to have thousands of tools and products like Amy from Go Groomer does. As I'm looking around here, half of them I don't use. That's why I'm talking to you about the things that you do need and that you will use. Those are the things we're talking about today, and that will get you through any groom, even if it's a de-shed, comb and a brush. You don't need a grooming rake. You don't need it. Safely de-shed a dog with a comb and a rake and conditioner when they're in the tub. I have videos on my channel about that. So our second item that you must have is a comb, a metal comb, preferably one that partially has fine teeth and coarse teeth. It'll get you through any groom. Okay, the next item on the on my lip is a clipper. And I have listed in the description below 2 clippers. 2 that are very, very loved by professional groomers. This one happens to be my favorite. The second one that's linked is I think the Andis Excel. I did get the opportunity to try that Andis clipper when I went to groom with Rudy, and I really liked it. So I put it on here too because it is both of those, the Wahl KM 10 and the Andis, I think it's the Excel, are well loved in the grooming industry. So hang on, get my notes out here. Yeah, the Pro Clip Excel 5-speed. Yeah. Okay, so I like to have a 2-speed clipper at least. This is on low speed. This is on high speed. There's many reasons for your 2-speed clippers. One reason is because a lot of dogs don't care for the vibration or the noise. So it's nice to have the option to slow it down a little. And I'll tell you another huge benefit to having a 2-speed clipper is because your blades, they're metal blades. They get hot. There is a cutting edge that moves back and forth against this other back part of the blade. And it causes friction and it does get hot. It's not a broke blade. I get emails, people saying that my blade got hot, something's wrong with it. No, that's normal, okay? We can't avoid it. That's why they make Cool Care. You spray the Cool Care on if it's getting warm. Spray the Cool Care on. Let it sit, you know, maybe go back to combing out all the clipping and stuff out of your dog. Let that Cool Care sit on there for 30 seconds. Let it do its job. Wipe it off. Hit it one more time. Wipe it off, and now you should be able to continue with your clipping. You don't have to worry about it if you have a guard comb on, because the guard comb is against the skin, not the blade. But if the 10 blade, if we're doing sanitary trimming around the privates and the anus and the eyes and the feet, this gets hot, it could burn the dog's skin. So it's important. On low speed, it won't get hot as fast because there's not as many strokes per minute at low speed. You kick it up to high and this is going back and forth much more, which causes friction quicker. There are a couple other reasons why people like to have the 2 speeds at least. I don't feel the need to have more than 2 speeds on a clipper. I like a low and a high, but some people like those 5 speeds and stuff. I'm not sure that I would need it. I notice even like on my Kenchi Flash, I basically use a 3, which is right in the middle. If I feel I need to back it down, I'll go down to a 2. So I'm not sure that we need all those speeds on our clippers, but I guess some people like those choices, so you got them, okay? But so those are my choices for our clippers. Now I want to say as well, all your professional clippers for dog grooming, they all come with a 10 blade. That's why we don't have to purchase it out of the gate. So that's why a blade wasn't on the list of 6 things, because it comes with the Wahl KM 10 and it comes with the Andis Pro Clip. Now, will it go dull? Yeah, eventually it will. So you will have to have a replacement. If you want to avoid a hot blade, it's always nice to have a spare sharp blade, even though this one's still sharp, to have another one. So if this one gets hot, I can simply remove it, set it down, put my warm blade or my cool blade on, and I didn't miss a beat. So it is nice to always have 2 blades, 2 of everything. But I want to point out that the 10 blade comes with the Wahl KM 10. That's why I didn't have to put a blade on the list of things that you need to buy to groom a dog, because you get it with the clipper. Okay, so the next thing on the list, number 4, is guard comb attachments. Let me get up to date here with my notes. Guard comb attachments. Okay, so that's these guys, and you buy them by the set. There are guard combs specifically for detachable blade clippers, and there are guard combs for another type of clipper, which is called an adjustable blade. We're talking about detachable blade clippers. This is a set made by Wahl. They're stainless. They are strong. They are much better than the plastic ones because the way they go through the coat, it goes through much like a comb. Instead of, picture when you're grooming a dog, if this comb were plastic or metal, the metal is just going to cut right in there and get down to business. The plastic comb is kind of going to push through the hair a little bit. That's why I like these stainless steel guard combs. They come in a set of 8. I'm missing one because I broke it, and if you break one, you can always reorder just that one. But it happened to be the A comb, which I rarely use, so I haven't even put it on my list to reorder yet. I'm like, I can live without it. I've been living without it. So anyway, I will order it when I think about it. Next time I order from Groomer's Choice, I need to get ear cleaners, one thing on my list I'm getting low on. And I also need another blade for my Kenji Flash 5. So I will be ordering that A comb then and replacing it. But these will get you through any groom. That's why it is on the list of important things that you must have to groom any dog. Because with these guard combs, you can choose the length that you want, whether it's on the body, a longer length on the legs, you can do that, or you can do the body and the legs all one length. You can set your head trim like I did with Sparky in the video with a longer comb, so that all you got to do is tie it together with your shears. But most of the work was already done because you set the length with your guard combs. All professional groomers use them, especially in day-to-day pet grooming. These are a professional tool and you can't live without them. These are the ones I like. They are, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you the prices of the clippers. The Wahl KM 10's $197.99 and the Andis is $229.25. All linked in the description below for you to go check out if you're in the market for a clipper. These guys are $36.89 with Groomer's Choice. That's where I would get them. Don't forget, I have a link in my description that gets you 10% off Groomer's Choice products. I think it is. Then there's also, if it's on Amazon Groomer's Choice, there's another link, gives you 15%, but it's a one-time purchase. So if you've already taken advantage of that coupon, you won't be able to use it again. But it does refresh every month. So the Amazon Groomer's Choice link gives us 15% off. If you use it this month and then you need to order next month or the next month, then you will get another 15% because every month they give me a new link and I have to go in and change the link. So it's a little cumbersome. I'm not sure I care for the way that goes because once videos are up, I would have to remember to go back and change those links in September, October, because some people may watch this video in October, right? So it kind of messes things up for me a little bit. Hopefully they figure a better way to do that. So the guard combs go over your 10 blade, and then your 10 blade is what you use your sanitary trimming with and the pads of feet and the privates. So you got what you need when you buy your clipper. And you definitely need the guard combs in your set. So the next thing on the list, number 5, is a shear. And I chose the curved shear instead of a straight shear as the only shear that you will need to groom a dog. And I can groom a dog with a curved shear. Feet, legs, head. It's easier, I think, for a beginner to use a curved shear when you're doming in the head and you're bringing it in under the chin and rounding in the cheeks. I feel that a curved shear is easier. That's why I put it on the list. Some people may prefer a straight shear. And so in other words, yes, you can groom a dog with just a straight shear. This is a straight shear, but it's curved, okay? I like the curve. I find it sets you up for success. This happens to be my shear made by Kenji. It is a wonderful shear. I use it every day. It is a Sapphire, and it's beautiful. And it is a workhorse. It performs great. I use it every day and I'm a professional groomer. Very well balanced. I like the 8-inch size, which is from the end of the finger to the tip. That's an 8-inch shear. This one is $119. It's a great deal. I have been using them since they came out, which was last October. And this one I have had sharpened once. Now I'm professional groomer. I groom a lot of dogs. So this one has been out to be sharpened once, and so has my straight shear in my Sapphire series. But the blender I haven't had to sharpen yet. But I don't use the blender as much because I have so many blenders. I love blenders. But you don't have to have a blending shear to groom a dog. That's the point. I started out for years only using a straight or a curved until I went to blenders. So that's why blender shear is not on the list of things you must have to groom dogs, because you don't have to have it to groom dogs. And the last thing on our list is a nail trimmer. That's on the list because nail trimming is very important. This is my favorite nail trimmer, has been for so long. This is the Miller's Forge pliers style. It's so lightweight. It doesn't pop when I use it. When I trim nails, it's a very quiet. It makes a slight sound because obviously it's trimming a nail, but it does. A lot of nail trimmers really pop. Pop, pop, pop. The dogs don't like that. I don't like that sound. This is my favorite. And a lot of you have been picking them up for yourself over the years of us doing our thing here live from the grooming table and watching my channel. A lot of you are using it and giving me the same feedback and said, I'm glad you turned me on to that. It's my new favorite too. And it's easy to maneuver. That's why I like it. So this nail trimmer is $11.70. It's fantastic. And this is my favorite. Now I wanted to tell you guys why it is so important to trim nails, why this tool made it on the list. This tool made it on the list because if we don't trim just the dead part of our dog's nails, I have videos on my channel, several, that show you how to trim nails specifically. So if you're struggling with that, please go check on my channel and you'll find videos that show you how to trim the nail, what it means, what are we looking for when we trim the nail, how do we get it done safely. So I want to set you up for success and tell you to definitely go look for those videos if you're struggling or if you need to learn more about nail trimming. But if we don't trim those nails, in fact, one of my nail trim videos shows you a damaged nail. Which one was that? Gosh, that was I don't usually see it that bad, so I had to film it. I had to go grab my camera and film that. It was a Cavalier Spaniel, and his nail had pulled away from the quick. And the quick was down here, and it had healed that way. So this happened, and he was a little overweight, so I could see how an overweight dog will split the nail from the quick. If he had nicked it outside because the quick was exposed, I mean dangling there, it could have bled profusely. And if he hadn't been near his owner to stop the bleeding, it could have been terrible. So it is very important. That really brought it home to me. Oh, it's very important to trim nails. We don't want them to break, because if they break, often they will break back too far, and sometimes that can happen when our dogs are unattended, and it can bleed a lot. If you're not there, that's kind of unsafe for them. So it's very important to trim the nails. So like I said, guys, it's I have a video that will show you that. The video that I did that I want you to see about that had the dog that had the damaged nail, I will link on my community tab after we're live here, because I want you to see it. I want you to see what it looks like. But I also show you how to trim nails, and I was guiding somebody else who never trimmed nails, or wasn't that, she was kind of shadowing me at the time. She was a younger girl, about 15, so Chloe, and she did a wonderful job. And I think in that video I was also guiding her how to trim nails. So it's a really good learning video, it really is. And that one was, I think it was my newer nail trimming video, but I will link it on the community tab when we're done here, because I do want you guys to see it. So those, in a nutshell, all those tools, those 6 tools, what would it cost you to bundle them all up together from the links I just gave you? If you purchase with the Andis clipper, which was more money than the Wahl, it's $429.20. If you purchase it with the choice of the Wahl KM 10, which is my favorite, it's $397.94. So people talk about starting a career in pet grooming. I want to tell you, you can get it. You can start for $400. All right. Yes, you do need a table to start with. You may just get a grooming arm, and you know, use another table that's sturdy enough for smaller dogs. You got to be real careful with your bigger dogs, putting them up on a table that's not strong enough to hold them, because big dogs falling can really injure themselves because they're bigger dogs, a lot more weight coming down on their body. All dogs can injure themselves if they fall off a grooming table, but big dogs really can. So, you know, you can get all that done for $400, guys, and start grooming. You know, start your grooming business. Where do you go if you want to start a grooming business? I saw somebody had a question in the chat. There are a lot of great learning websites right now available that help you become a beginner pet groomer. One of them is from Paragon School of Pet Grooming. They have a virtual program. They also have a subscription program where you can pay, I think, $40 per month, and they got like thousands of videos to help you learn to groom. Also, Jody Murphy has the same thing. She has a subscription program, plus she has DVDs. She has a lot of wonderful videos too, but the thing is, if you're going to learn that way, you've really got to know what you need to learn. And as a beginner, it's hard to know what you need to learn. That's why I like people to take some type of a program that's pre-packaged for them. Even if it's a virtual program, I want you to look into the Paragon School of Pet Grooming or Nash Academy virtual program. Okay, if we're talking virtual, meaning you're not in person. If you're in person, there are a couple of other really good pet grooming schools that you could entertain. There's one in New York City. I forget what it's called. New York City Pet Grooming School, I think it's called. I've been watching them on Instagram, and I'd like to go visit them sometime and kind of take a tour and interview them, and so that I can bring it back to you guys here on the YouTube channel, what they have to offer as far as somebody learning to groom. They look pretty impressive. So you never want to go into it blind. There's too many things that can go wrong when you're grooming dogs, guys, if you don't have the knowledge and the information that you need. So I don't ever want to set you up for failure. I want you to succeed. Let's bring, whoops. Wait, I'm gonna get my demo off there. We don't want that. I want to bring my friends back up on screen. There they are. There they are. Now, guys, guess what? I'm going to answer your questions. You submitted questions in the Google form. If you ever would like to submit a question, it's in all my live stream videos. There's a link in the description of all my live streams that says submit your question. It's to a Google form. So that's where we're headed right now. I'm going to truck right over there, and I'm going to pull up my questions, and we're going to start. Hang on a second. I gotta load this up. Internet's being quite slow. We're gonna start with our first one, which comes from, this question comes from Megan, and Megan has a Shiba Chihuahua, it looks like, and a Havanese. So she has two dogs, or it's a Shiba Chihuahua mixed with a Havanese, I'm not sure. She's not a groomer. She says, I'm new to grooming, so I think she's just grooming her own dogs. She said, I just adopted a Havanese, and she says, what do I ask the groomer to do for a summer cut? Is it too late for a summer cut, she says. Well, it depends on where you look, but no. And no, you can take your dog to a certain length that it's always going to be safe. She says, should I leave longer for winter? Right now, she said it's about 2 to 3 inches long. And I don't know, that doesn't make sense. The next part of her question, the wording is wrong. I can't make sense of it. But she says the coat has ringlets, so it sounds like it is long. It's a Havanese. She says, I use a pen brush and a comb and a small blunt tooth scissor. That's good. That's good. The pen brush is nice too because it won't break the coat because it is a longer coat. But just remember, you do have to be removing some dead hair especially on that long coat. You're going to have a lot of dead hair that could want to mat. So what do I suggest for a summer cut? Grand Style Dog Grooming is super chatting. Suzanne, put your wallet away, girl. Hey, you are so getting saluted. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for joining us today, too. It's good to see you. You work so hard, girl. I can't believe you're not live. You're always live, working. Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. So this young lady, Megan, says, what would be a nice length for summer trim? Now, when people ask me that, I know what a half of an inch is. I know what 3/8 of an inch is. Some people don't. So when my clients come in and they say, oh, just leave about a half an inch, I know what a half of an inch is. That's a half of an inch. I'm like, okay. I come back and they're like, oh, that's so short. And a half inch is not short. It's just shorter than what it was when the dog came in. And I said, but that's what you asked me to do. And they go, no, I said half inch. I'm like, that's not a half inch. That's a half inch. So she says, what should I do? Megan says that. And I honestly, for a Havanese, Megan, a summer trim, something comfortable and a little lower maintenance, you could go with like a 3/8 inch. You could ask your groomer to do it as a 3/8 inch size trim for the body and the legs. That's a nice little summer trim. So in other words, it leaves enough to protect the skin. Havanese often are white or lighter colored dogs, not always, but they can easily get sunburn because they really don't have a thick coat. They have a lot of hair, but it's not super thick. So they need something to protect their skin. I like to see all dogs, no matter what time of the year, to always have at least 3/8 of an inch of hair because I feel like it protects the skin and it helps insulate in the cold and in the warm weather. You could do a half inch too for your Havanese. I think that would look very nice. So she was wanting to know what to tell her groomer that would look good for her Havanese. So I hope that has helped you, Megan. That's a great question. I'm sure it helps somebody else too. So thank you for sending in your question, Megan. So I'm going to move on to question number 2. Question number 2 comes from Carolyn. Carolyn has a Cocker Spaniel, Terrier, Mix, Chihuahua. So I think she has 3 dogs, a Cocker Spaniel, because she has a comma, Terrier Mix, and a Chihuahua. Okay. So she says she's not a groomer. She said, would it be safer to use a nail sander to trim the dog's nails instead of a nail cutter if you're not used to cutting their nails? Well, in my opinion, Carolyn, I feel like the nail trimmer is more accurate, but if you're having trouble with accuracy and using the trimmer, the grinder may be a little safer for you as a newer person to trimming nails. I personally like to use the trimmer because it's once and done. They're done. With the grinder, you got to take a little more time. So even as somebody new to grooming, you may find the grinder a little cumbersome too. So I can't really completely set you up for success there, but what I can tell you is the grinder is a little safer if you're using it right and properly. When you use a nail grinder, you grind and you let go. Remember we talked about the friction from a dog grooming blade because it's metal on metal and it gets hot? Well, the friction of the grinder is moving so fast that when we touch the dog's nail, now we're creating friction. We're holding it on the nail. There's a vein in there in that nail. It can get too hot. So when you grind a dog's nail, you don't just hold it on the nail and grind. You usually kind of round them up, stop, round them up, stop, round them up, stop. So you're not applying constant, it will burn the dog's nail. And it will just keep filing to the quick. It can definitely expose the quick. So don't think that a grinder will eliminate exposing the quick, because you still can. I tend to like to get comfortable with a nail trimmer because it doesn't make the noise of the grinder, for one. Some dogs mind it, most dogs don't. Most dogs don't mind the nail grinder. It's not too offensive to a dog. But some dogs do. So then you got to go with this guy. or use a regular file, which takes even longer. So that's a tough one. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I think I just gave you enough information to make your own decision. And that's what I want you to do, Carolyn, is make your decision. Grinders can be dangerous too because they move so fast. If your dog has longer hair, or let's say longer tail hair, and you're not careful enough to make sure all that tail hair is held out of the way, it can wind up so fast in that grinder and rip the hair right out. And I was in a CPR course one time where the instructor told me that this happened to her, that it broke a dog's tail. Now I'm scaring you guys. You're never going to touch your dogs again, are you? All right, that's all I got to say about that. All tools to groom dogs are dangerous, guys. Even a brush is dangerous. Even a brush can cause brush burn. Let the tools do the work for you. I was talking to my friend Jeffrey not long ago, and he has been reading from Melissa Verplank, which I totally adore, and she is very knowledgeable. And he gave me a tip that he read from her. He said, did you know what Melissa said about how much pressure you should hold when you're holding a brush? He said, she says, when I walk past a student that I'm training, this is Melissa speaking, she says, I should be able to smack that brush right out of their hand, that they're holding it that loosely. And I never thought about that, but I'm like, that's a brilliant way of explaining that. That's exactly the pressure I put on my brush when I'm brushing. You won't see me doing this, ever. When you're brushing, you're letting the brush do the work. You're guiding it. You're finessing it, okay? And it literally is just sort of resting in your hand. You're not like this. If you're like this, you're more likely to cause brush burn or hurt your dog. So don't do this. So yeah, that was an excellent way to explain it. Melissa Verplank, you nailed it on that. She says, when I walk past a student learning to brush a dog, I should be able to knock that brush right out of her hand or his hand, because that means they're holding a nice loose grip. They're in control of the tool, but they're not like this. And that's the same for shears. And maybe that'll help you guys. When I hold my shears, I'm not holding my shears like this. I'm not holding them like that. They're resting in my hand. Think about that. That makes it easier for you to use your grooming tools. Nail trimmers, I'm not holding them like this. I'm holding them, but they are very loose in my hand, literally. I never thought about that. That is wonderful. All my tools are loose in my hand. They're not like this. So I just love that advice. So, okay, Carolyn, I hope I helped you. Thank you for that awesome question. I know you helped a lot of people by asking it. So let's move on to our next question. And the next one that we have is from Donna. Donna has a Shih Tzu, and she says, when taking a show coat, okay, this is a Shih Tzu. Donna is not a groomer. When taking a show coat on a Shih Tzu, first cut down, what blender would you recommend? So you're trimming, shortening it up with a blending shear instead of using guard combs. I like to use blending shears too, because the guard combs can often, on a long coat, can really look clipped, but not short, just clipped, not natural. That's the word. So blending shear for a Shih Tzu that looks nice and natural. One of my favorites is the Jonathan David Lightning blending shear. It's a nice, soft, a little bit aggressive, but not too aggressive, and it blends beautiful. That's one of my favorite. My Sapphire blending shear, I think, is a little too not aggressive for that Shih Tzu coat, long coat. It would get you there, but I feel like you'd have to work harder to get there with my Sapphire blender versus, say, Jonathan David's Lightning shear. I like that one. I would go for that one. That would be my choice. So I hope that helps you, Donna, and thank you for asking that awesome question. All of your questions help everybody else, guys. And if you have a question to submit for next week, don't forget to do so. Next question comes from Mark. Mark has a Shih Tzu, and Mark is not a groomer, and says, how long did it take you to become an expert with your grooming skills? What an awesome question, Mark. I am still perfecting my craft. Absolutely. I mean, I am a professional. I consider myself an expert. But I learn new techniques, and I practice my scissor techniques and clipper techniques with every groom, trying to produce better work. So I think one of the biggest things is to always critique your work when you're done and look at it and say, you, Amy Leigh, could have done a much better job trimming those feet. So next time, get it together, girl. Be your own worst critic, okay? It's a wonderful thing. And I am my own worst critic. So it's important to judge your work and to learn from it and step back after you groom a dog and say, you know the areas you're struggling with when you're struggling. So I'm having trouble balancing out the face. So give it a good look when you're done, because you knew you struggled with it, and say, what could I have done differently now that I've put my scissors down and I can just think about this. Same with ears. I struggled for a while to get them even. One would be here, one would be there. Maybe not that bad, but pretty close. I found different ways to perfect that. And I also learned from watching other professional groomers and from going to shows, from going to seminars, from buying DVDs from Jody Murphy and Chris Pulowski and Diane Badalak and all my favorite people, just learning. So when would I have considered myself an expert pet groomer? Oh boy, I still don't know that I consider myself an expert. I would say I felt very, very confident about 5 years into it. But even 5 years into it, professionally, I felt I made a lot of mistakes that I had to learn to correct. And I still correct things to this day that I find easier ways to do it and better ways. So next question comes from, thank you, Mark, for asking that question. Next question comes from Vanessa. Vanessa says she has a silky, long-haired Yorkie. Beautiful. She's not a groomer. She says, what is the proper way to reseed the quick? Okay. How do you reseed the quick? I like this question. In an overgrown dog nail. Vanessa, in my professional opinion, it cannot be done. I'm going to tell you guys a little story to let you know how I know this. Okay. So what I want to tell you, first of all, is as a professional groomer, I do not quick the quick on purpose. If I do quick it a little bit, it happens. Absolutely, it happens. I have a quick stop to help me out. And, sometimes the dog moves a little bit. We do quick a nail. Not a gusher, just a little blood. Here's the thing. If I have a dog with overgrown nails, I will not purposely quick the nail to try to recede it. So when somebody would ask me, well then, is it possible that if you quick the nail that it will recede? I wouldn't have been able to answer that because as a professional, I don't make it a practice to quick nails. But this is where I'm going to tell you a story and you might get mad at me. So I had a pug named Nico and he was the best dog, my best friend. I loved him. He was a wonderful dog. His nails grew terrible. Like I trimmed his nails. I was a groomer when I had him. His nails, as soon as they started to grow, would curl right under. They didn't grow out into his pad or nothing, so I didn't let them grow that long. But they always started to curl under immediately, as soon as they would start to grow. So he's my dog. And I thought, I want to see if I can start lightly quicking his nails, if I can retrain that. And the answer is no. I did that for a couple of years. I didn't quick him way far back, but I quicked his nail. Try to get it to grow straighter and recede the quick. And it did not happen. So that's why, in my professional opinion, it is not possible to recede a quick that is grown out. The best thing to do, and what I notice is, this is why I make sure that if somebody's given me a puppy to groom, Vanessa, this is a wonderful question, by the way, thank you. If somebody has given me a puppy to groom, I make sure I get the puppy in about 9-10 weeks after it's had its shots and it's able to come in. I want to get the puppy in right away. I want to start trimming nails mainly. And part of the reason is because the quick is not grown out when they're young, and you can start trimming the nail at a real nice length when they're puppies. And it'll stay there as long as they keep bringing them in every 4-5 weeks. It'll stay there, so it'll be good. So that's how you train a quick not to be overgrown. Once it's overgrown, you're just kind of out of luck, honestly, because I did experiment with that with my pug, and I could not reseed his quick. So the next question comes from Terry. Another Shih Tzu. Wow, Shih Tzus are a popular breed, aren't they? Terry says, what kind of Dremel would you use if you did use one? This is, I heard that you like the clippers better. Yeah, I do. Thank you, Amy. Love your channel. Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. Okay, so I have had some really good Dremels over the years. And I have Dremel nails. I just decided that it was a step I didn't want to take anymore. You know, I didn't want to just spend the time. And a lot of dogs seem to mind it, and I just didn't like it. It works good, yes. So I had one that was corded. I liked that better. Some of the battery operated ones are, they have the rechargeable battery. They're very powerful, very much so. I'm trying to think of the brands. Oh boy, it's been a while since I had a Dremel. I don't even know if they would still make the brands that I even had. Where did I got it from Groomer's Choice, so it would have been whatever Groomer's Choice would offer as a professional Dremel would definitely be good quality, because they cater to dog groomers. You know, if they're selling crap to dog groomers are going to start barking up their tree. Say, you're selling me crap! Get that off your website or whatever, you know. So, I'm not sure because I don't use one. So I wish I could help you with that answer, Terry, but I can't tell you something. I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to mess you up in any way. Suzanne Dremels, you can definitely ask Suzanne. I know she Dremels nails. She does. Yep, I remember doing that with her when we groomed together. So Terry, ask Suzanne, because I'm pretty sure if it wasn't good, she wouldn't be using it. So that is all of our questions for today. I have a couple more things to announce. I told you guys. And thank you all for submitting your questions. Yes, Oster does make, Jeffrey, thank you. Oster does make a really good Dremel. Yes, they do. I told you I was going to tell you guys what the topic is for next week, right? I can't wait. You're going to love it. It's not next week, it's 2 weeks. Our next scheduled live from the grooming table is Monday, August 15th at 5:30. The topic is, come on guys, give me a drum roll. You're going to like this one. How to quick a nail. No, that's not it. I'm not going to show you how to do that. The topic is how to groom a dog in only 90 minutes. Now, that's 1.5 hours. And when I say groom a dog, I mean start to finish. I mean brush, bathe, condition, fluff dry, nails, haircut. We're talking a full groom, okay? Not on a 200-pound doodle. That is not done in 90 minutes. And if it is, it's not going to look good. So we're talking about your average dog. On average, I groom smaller dogs under 20 pounds, really. I can do them all day in 90 minutes, each one. So I'm going to be sharing my secrets that will help you groom dogs faster and safer. Okay, there are ways to speed up your grooming, and there are precautions to take to make sure that your groom is safe and that is effective as well. So, you know, setting you and the dog up for success. That's the important thing. So I cannot wait for that, guys. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. This has been wonderful. I hope the information has been helpful I always hope the information is helpful. I do my best for you guys. I honestly do. Now, I will see my hounds on August 11th, okay? And I cannot wait to see you guys for our next lesson. Lesson number 3, Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh. I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it. So if you can't make it, hounds, don't worry. It's on the replay. It'll be recorded for you. Everybody else, thank you too for being here. We are just better together, and I appreciate you wanting to take good quality care of your pets or the pets you groom. Either way, it's all good. So, wow, I love you. I love you guys. I really do. And I'm so proud of you. And I want you to have a wonderful 2 weeks without me. Enjoy your pets. Enjoy your grooming. Enjoy your summer. And I will see you right back here on the 15th, live from the grooming table with a great topic and a lot of information for you. So you might want to take some notes. Here's a subscriber showdown for you and you and you. I love you. Your dog is the demo dog at the Andis booth.
Pretty cool.